depth of the depravity of this creature, this monster that I unwillingly helped to create. As if what he had already done wasn't enough. He found a new way to desecrate, to humiliate, to destroy. As if the suffering wasn't enough. The loss of innocence, the loss of everything to so many people.
Fascinating. What they have become.
We need you so that we can leave.
5 Nights at Freddy's has a massive roster of antagonists, to its simple animatronic enemies of the likes of Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, Foxy, and all their countless variants, to some of the big bads of the series, these ones usually having a lasting impact on the series and have a dedicated saga to them. Examples being of course the most predominant, William Afton, the Yellow Rabbit himself, who has been FNAF's virtually most successful villain for a good reason. He was there from the start, the murderer who took the lives of 5 and even more children whose souls haunt the respective mascot animatronics. With his phrase,
"I always come back,"
you may never know when exactly old Willy will be making his grand return in the series. He has multiple appearances in the games, books, and now the coming films will feature the malevolent Springtrap. Moving on to the Steelwall/Security Bridge saga with its primal antagonist being a replica AI whose whole programming is to learn from others, a creature with no soul, no self, a murderous machine bent on manipulation and lack of reason to keep on going but persist anyway. The Mimic, who first made their appearance in FNAF VR, Help Wanted. Their digital version, a yellow rabbit, very similar to Afton's yellow rabbit, but this one being very similar to a mascot suit, perfect for something to crawl inside and mimic. Being a replica of the tragic stories of Freddy's history, the Mimic will make multiple appearances in the Tales book, but now in its physical form, a bare endoskeleton full of rust, dust, and speaks of old age. Yet it keeps building itself up for survival. With the Mimic's physical form making its debut in Security Breach's DLC Ruin, we got to see a lot of what this thing was capable of doing, which is nothing short of terrifying. And with Steelwall's announcement, it seems like the Mimic has a bright future ahead as the new FNAF main villain. Maybe when you think of FNAF villains, you think of characters from their respective games. Nightmare, Fredbear/Nightmare, the scrapped animatronics from Pizza Sim, that fucking rainbow from... Maybe you think of candidates like the Rat from the Candies games, Simon from Popgo's Creation, and others. But there is one villain that has been sidelined a bit, and I feel like it needs to be brought attention to, as the character, or characters, itself is the perfect example in the setting of the game they are in. But also, the character is the game itself. Enter Ennard, an amalgamation of the Funtime animatronics Ennards fused together into a one animatronic being, consisting of Circus Baby, Funtime Freddy, Ballora, and Funtime Foxy. I guess you can add Bun Bun in there, but... Now, to really explain why Ennard is undoubtedly the perfect villain in a game like Syslocation, but also how impactful this monster is in its respective games. Ennard is Syslocation. Down from the story and the plot of the game to Syslocation's theme. Everything you can think of in this game can be reflected and linked to Ennard. But we're gonna need a summary for this. So please enjoy this video, and hey, if you want to subscribe, it's free, and if you change your mind, it's right there. Anyway, onwards with the video. Now before we get into the main game, I do want to mention the era where Syslocation was being teased. Now, during this, we only got 3 teasers related to Ennard, one of them being the full frame with the captions, "There's a little bit of me inside every body." Notice it's not every body, but every body. We'll get to that later. The next 2 teasers were just images of his mask, with one of them being the release date of Syslocation. None of these will be taken into account, but that line will definitely come back to. We start off with a conversation between 2 men. It goes as follows.
There's no doubting what you've achieved on a technical level. These are clearly state-of-the-art. There are just certain design choices that were made for these robots that we don't fully understand. We were hoping that you could shed some light on those.
She can dance, she can sing,
She's equipped with a built-in helium tank for inflating balloons right at her fingertips. She can take song requests. She can even dispense ice cream.
We get introduced to Circus Baby through the cutscene, and that lays the base for the game. And for this video, Mr. Afton, or William, tells the other man some features of the Circus Baby character that has been designed, labeling them off as he goes until the conversation ends with...
With all due respect, those aren't the design choices we were curious about, Mr. Afton.
Clearly something was being hid away, as if Afton was trying to hide some of the features Baby was capable of, which brings us to the synopsis of this video. Facade. A facade is an outward appearance which is deliberately false and gives you wrong impression about someone or something. Example would be Susan is putting on a facade to hide her true feelings about John, whether it's with malicious intent or she just has a massive crush on him. Either way, Susan doesn't want the truth to get out. A facade. Now I'll get back to that very soon, but keep it in mind while I explain the rest of Sislocation's base game. Anyway, during the playthrough we get introduced to the Funtime animatronics. These characters are the same type as Baby from the start of the cutscene, and when you delve deeper into the game, you realize the Funtimes aren't your typical Five Nights antagonists. They're not restless souls being manipulated by a higher power, a rogue AI born from violence, although one of these characters is possessed. I wonder who. It's only revealed in the game after Sislocation that these Funtime animatronics are stronger than the souls they contain.
And to you monsters trapped in the corridors, be still, and give up your spirits. They don't belong to you. Are they still aware? I hope not.
These Funtime animatronics have a distinct purpose. These animatronics are designed to kill, not by souls or by agony, but down to their code, meant to deceive, capture, and kill their victims. Of course, mirroring their creator, Mr. Afton. They deceive, they manipulate, and pretend to be something they are not. A facade. By the climax of Night 5, this is where we get introduced to Ennard, slowly fading into behind the window to slowly look at us before our innards get scooped out, and we fall dead on the floor. Where we see Ennard use our skin as a suit, something to hide behind to escape, unlike the mask they wear, and now full body they can walk around in. A facade. Now in the normal ending, if you didn't get jump scared, then you would only see Ennard for about 15 seconds before the game ends, so not much screen time, plus the scene in the parts and service where you can see Ennard just behind Baby deceiving you into thinking it's actually Ballora who is in the room. So all this time, Baby isn't the one communicating with you, it's Ennard, which is still technically Baby, but it's not the Baby animatronic in front of us, it's Ennard who is behind Baby. Besides the point, Ennard during a normal gameplay is seen very, very little. Although their build-up is quite something, if you notice the mask being missing in Night 5, besides that, yet again, it's not much screen time. Unless you know my boy Scotty's he who got that secret ending, baby! If you ignore Baby's instructions and head forward then right, you will enter the private room, which I think, out of the 5 games, has to be one of the major highlights of the franchise. Being put in a room with doors, buttons, and cameras, you know exactly what you're in for. It's like Scott said, alright, here's your cameras and your doors, you know the rest. Anyway, so you check the cameras as this haunting tune plays, and you get to see in full view Ennard. The real Ennard, the facade, has now revealed itself. We now know the truth. This thing has been the voice that has been manipulating us to escape, to use us, literally. But now we see the very thing trying to manipulate us in its full disgusting self. Ennard in this night is furious as he desperately tries to enter the office. They start to talk in Baby's voice at first, still desperately trying to convince us to let Ennard in. As Baby makes it look like we betrayed her, trying to make us feel bad. Anything to grab onto, to let it in the room.
Why didn't you trust me? Why didn't you trust me? Why didn't you believe me?
After the first few hours, Ennard's patience only lays thinner and are more desperate than ever. Now using Elizabeth's voice, who was the child Baby killed, using it in its twisted, sick advantage to let it in the room.
I know it was an accident. Everything is okay. I'm still here. You have to let me inside the room. We need you so that we can hide. We need you so that we can leave.
An abomination of sentient wires, violence being the only purpose stuck down there for decades. A plan so thought out, so perfect, now falling right in front of their eyes. God knows what that thing is thinking. During that realization, it's something you'd only hear about in nightmares. But here it is. It's in the building with you, the gigantic abomination of agony, underground, restlessly hunting you down, and it's out for your life. It has no regrets. It doesn't care about your life. In fact, it wants your life. The track Watch Your Six that plays in the private room is a neat play of words, meaning the time you need to get to in any Five Nights game to complete the night, and also means to look behind you, which Ennard has been doing this entire game. During the fake ending, you go home, sit on the couch and watch TV as your delightful exotic basket of butters sits there on your TV. The show ends and... Wait,
and more.
What's that sound? Ennard manages to leave the underground facility, even without our body, and follows you home. It's still out for you. It still wants your body. Because after all, if Ennard is found, they'll just be sent back. This time for good. The amount of rage and frustration in this monster's eyes to see it drag its body to you. As the screen fades, we're left wondering how. What was Ennard about to do? Only horrors could tell. With this fake ending, we get to see the true side of Ennard and their goals and motives, the reasoning to their cause, and most importantly, what they're willing to do to accomplish it. Cislocation is a game about deception, a facade willing to manipulate you, to use you. Ennard is the representation of that. Ennard and Cislocation are one. Heck, you could argue how Ennard perfectly encapsulates the entire franchise, how its theme of cuddly animatronic characters meant to entertain, born to bring magic, fantasy, and fun, and inspire children and grown-ups alike, but behind the scenes is a tragic story about unfairness of life, decades of suffering and manipulation making what was once innocent souls into monsters of a man's creation. The friendly characters turned into the monster that murdered them, meant to manipulate, meant to deceive, using fear, panic, dread, and terror. You don't know what they've been through, so let them show you what they've been through. Then they ruined him with Molten Freddy. They did my boy dirty! You will be missed, Ennard. Thank you for enjoying this video. This was just a fun little video I decided to do. I've never really done a full-on explanation video. I've done some gameplay things with a few explanation, but nothing too critical, I guess. I'd like to give a huge thank you to KillerFurby for basically coming up with this whole idea. They're amazing artists. Please go follow them and support them. Jesus Christ, you should be taking my job. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Hit the like, subscribe. I don't want to be that type of guy, but hey, it's there.